What's up, guys? This is a party.
Welcome to the party.
Alright, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the podcast. These are the boys Jake and Ty, and pretty much we're just gonna dive into our minds in the most raw form possible, uncut for the most part, so you guys get true, genuine content. We got a bunch of your guys' questions written down so we can answer those for you, and just some topics that we wanted to cover ourselves. And yeah, we're gonna dive right into it. And our first topic was, what was it?
Rule your mind, or it will rule you.
Yep. So, you got any elaboration on that?
Shit, well, just off the top of my head, it kind of makes sense just saying that. Like, rule your mind or it will rule you. I think that's definitely true. I mean, if you don't take control of the things that you do, it's easy to fall victim to just letting things happen, you know? Like, you gotta be going out, you gotta be actively making stuff happen for you. If you just sit back and let things come to you, the things that come to you might not even be what you want for the first part, but I mean, it's kind of like throwing a dartboard in the dark. Like, you don't know where you're gonna land. Like, you gotta go out and make things happen for yourself, you know?
Yeah, damn, that's...
I feel like people aren't consciously thinking about their minds. So obviously you have the subconscious and the conscious, but subconsciously that is picking up all the stimuli around you, and if you're receiving negative stimuli, your mood will be directly affected by that.
That's a great point.
So if you're ruling your mind and if you're ruling those negative emotions and you're kicking them out and only letting the positive ones stay, that is truly ruling your mind.
Truly ruling your mind.
Which is benefiting you and everyone around you. Because that's instantly making people want to gravitate towards you. A positive person is just a magnet for social situations.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if I could have said that any better. Like, golly, that kind of, it reminds me of the saying, guide your life, don't let your life guide you, type thing, where you just, you gotta go with the flow to a certain extent, but you gotta realize, you gotta find a happy medium of where you control your life and what outcomes come from you controlling your life.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I think that's what a lot of things actually come back down to, is finding the happy medium. Because you've got to be able to go with the flow to some degree. Because you can't just get pissed whenever something that you don't want to happen happens. Like, that's just part of life. But at the same time, you can't go with the flow so much that you're not actively seeking out and doing the things that you know that you have to do to progress your life. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a balance. Everything really comes back to that.
You gotta have a balance in everything.
You have to.
But you can't let it overwhelm you.
No.
You can't let it overwhelm you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's definitely, if it overwhelms you, how can you find your inner peace? You're constantly in a state of frantically thinking and letting your emotions take hold of you. And that is, like we said earlier, it is the happy medium. Like, it's good to have those emotions, but it's good to have a control over them.
Yeah, another good point is it's important to have those emotions, but you have to have them at the right time. Like, with anger in particular, like, it's okay to be angry. Everyone gets angry. But you have to get angry at the right time, at the right things, in order for it to work in your favor.
Yeah.
So if you get pissed at something that you can't control, it's at the wrong time, I mean, it's just going to work actively against you.
Yeah, and what was that thing you said earlier about how negative emotions are a sign for something, that something needs to change?
Yep, negative emotions are a sign for change. And then positive emotions is a reward for doing that change or fixing your negative emotions.
I love that one. I love that one. That's gas.
Yeah, I mean, the negative emotions, that should let you know that something in your life is a little off balance. Like, you're angry with your parents for them not letting you, like, go out. Well, obviously they don't have trust or something regarding that. So you need to earn their trust or build whatever it is.
Build a relationship.
And then they'll start gradually letting
see
you
their perspective so they can see your perspective. Yeah. It's all about perspective.
Right.
It's all about perspective. And then regarding that quote we just said or whatever, some people get trapped in that cycle of bad emotions and they don't know how to get out of it, you know? So what would you say to someone trying to get out of that horrible cycle? Yeah, that's a thinker.
I mean, just going off the top of my head, I think that really ties back to what Ty was just saying. Like, I think it's easy for people to get caught in that cycle of like what you were saying. But I think, like what Ty said, when you experience a negative emotion, it's your body telling you that there's something in the world that's wrong, that needs to be fixed. Like, a lot of times, people will just brush off their emotions and say, like, oh, I'm just worrying about that because my mind's doing whatever it wants.
Yeah.
Well, like, when you feel a bad emotion, it's a sign that something is wrong.
Exactly.
And I think the important part is when you have those emotions to actually, like, really direct your attention outward to what's going on around you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't do that, if you just stay inside your own head, there's no way you're going to be able to figure out what exactly is wrong that's triggering that emotion in you. So you really have to, I mean, attention, it's so important. Like,
You have to pay attention to everything in your life and truly narrow it down. Like you said, if you get caught up in your head, it can be so devastating. You're your own
100%.
worst judge. Like,
That's
let me
very
say that
true,
again.
very true.
You are your own worst judge. No one else
It's thinking
treats
about
you. No one else treats you like you treat yourself.
Exactly.
You are so
Exactly.
like you're your own worst critic. It's the same. It's
Dude,
just
and
the same
that
thing.
ties into like, dude, no one is thinking about you as much as you're thinking about yourself. You know what I mean? Like when
100%.
when you're at the gym, you're like, oh, everyone's probably staring at me right now, but
Yup.
everyone's thinking that. Everyone's thinking that same exact thing. They're thinking
About themselves.
They're thinking about themselves, dude. Like one of the turning points that made me a lot happier in life was when I realized that no one really cares like deeply about me like I care about myself. You know?
Right.
It's the same with everybody.
Right.
Everyone cares about themselves, and that's their main priority. Like no matter how unselfish someone is or self-centered someone is, they're not going to care about you like you care about yourself. So if you just prioritize yourself, your emotions, and not waste any of your time dealing with someone who doesn't prioritize your emotions like you prioritize theirs,
Exactly.
it'll save you a lot of time, a lot of fucking
Yeah.
time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just kind of going on top of that, another thing that I think is worth noting is the perspective you have of yourself is the only perspective of yourself, like, that exists to you. Like, you're the only one
Yeah.
that sees yourself
Yeah.
from the perspective of yourself.
Yeah.
Everyone you ever meet
It's
has
crazy.
a different perspective of you.
100%.
The mailman, your mom, your dad, they all have different
Your
ideas
dog.
of you. Your dog, dude. Everyone, each one of your friends has a different perspective of you,
Right, right.
which is
That's such a great thing too. 'Cause
It
you
is.
can you can mold like your character
Mhm.
based off of what you do in front or to those people. So
Yeah, you can
leave
conform,
leave
adapt.
those people
Yeah.
thinking good about you and do good onto those people.
Yeah, that's the social mask, so to speak.
social mask. Yeah. And isn't it crazy how you know how no one knows you like you know yourself, and people are so quick to like get offended by one person's negative opinion.
I know.
Mhm.
One person's negative opinion, they're like down in the dumps, even though they have no idea your reasoning behind all of your actions,
Yeah.
your decisions. They don't know, but yeah, you feel like they have some sort of
Mm-hmm.
opinion in your life. Like once you learn that, you're pretty golden in life.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Like, I think it's important to, like, put stuff like that into perspective. Like, so you post a video on YouTube or you post something on Instagram and someone comments something that's not very nice. I mean, most of the time it's going to be someone that doesn't know you. I mean, sometimes it is, but
Yeah.
you have to think about the perspective of that person to you. Like,
Mhm.
most of the time they only know you through what you put on your Instagram. Like,
Exactly.
It's not really
like,
you.
like, why would you
Exactly.
like? I don't understand why anyone would even take that seriously. I mean, like, they don't even know you.
And so many people get like actually offended. Like Taylor Swift, you guys ever hear about that huge thing? She started just getting a bunch of shit from people on the internet, and like the people on the internet could tell that she was getting like
That it was getting
like,
to her.
offended.
Yeah, yeah.
And they just kept feeding on it, and just Taylor Swift went to this like 3-month, might have been longer than that, just depression where she didn't do shit because
Dude, I believe it.
people on the internet were shitting on her.
Dude.
Yeah, I mean that's why people like to do stuff like that. Because if you give the reaction, you're
That-
giving the
Yup.
people what
That's
they
what
want.
they're looking
Don't
for.
Exactly.
That's literally
be
what
phased
they-
from it.
Exactly.
People keep feeding on the emotional distress.
Right, right.
Like it's just so shitty that
It's
there's
so
dude,
shitty.
those people actually exist amongst us in
Yeah,
our
I know.
society.
And like, what are you gonna gain from that? You know, like
Yeah.
going out of your way to be negative.
Absolutely
Like,
nothing.
I actually have an interesting personal story about this. So, I was kind of an antagonist when I was younger. I'd pick on my sister a lot. Yeah, I'd pick on my little sister a lot. And what made it not fun anymore is when she stopped when I stopped getting a rise out of her, I just left her alone, and eventually, like, she wouldn't even bat an eye at it. And I mean, now we have an awesome relationship.
Yeah.
Like, that grew out of that. That stopped because, I mean, I know from experience, like, making fun of people is not fun if you don't get a rise out of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's the goal
It's the
of
only
why
reason.
you would say something like that.
Yeah, and some people, like, they have literally nothing better to do.
Exactly.
They have nothing better to do. That's the only way you can look
Let's
at
just send some hate real quick.
Yeah.
it.
Like, imagine that going through your mind. Oh, I want to comment on
Yeah.
someone's Instagram.
I
Fuck
want to
you.
throw so much shade. I'm not happy
Come
with
on,
myself.
why do you have to be like that?
Like, get some hobbies or
Yeah,
something.
it's the only reason they'd ever do that is because they're not happy with themselves. Like,
Most definitely.
Truly,
Most
they are
definitely.
not content with themselves, and that's a big thing. You need to be content with yourself no matter what. Like, no matter what you're going through,
Dude.
like, just know that it's okay, and it's a day-by-day process. Just be content with yourself. That doesn't mean being content with where you're at in life. You can always, like, set goals and achieve those goals, but, like, just being content in the moment. Because the moment is all we have.
you'll feel enlightened once you can finally do that. But it's crazy how many people nowadays are jumping into relationships without being content with themselves. So they jump into these relationships and they don't know what they deserve because they aren't like in love with themselves
I know.
yet. Well, not in love with themselves, but you know what I mean.
And they rely on the other person
they-
to feed them.
I mean, if you're not satisfied with yourself, what makes you think that you're going to be able to satisfy someone else?
Exactly.
You
And then
couldn't say
they-
it better.
like Ty said, they rely on them, and then once they get broken up with because they don't love themselves, they feel completely alone.
Earth is shattered. to
Earth
them.
is shattered because they feel like they have no one. But if you have
Yeah.
yourself, you'll never need anybody.
I think the crazy thing is that this idea ties directly back to the one we were just talking about. Like, when you think about people that give negative comments, oftentimes it's because they're not content with themselves.
Mm.
Kind of like what you were just saying. And when people are not content with themselves, it's because they're experiencing a negative emotion that they don't understand what the cause of it is. So if you experience that negative emotion and you're alerted that something around you needs to change, but you don't understand that, you just stay in your head. And I mean, that's no fun. Who likes to be emotional in their own head? That's when the urge to bring other people down, like, manifests itself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in a relationship's a great example of that too. I mean, if you're with someone that doesn't understand, like, their own negative emotions, like, they don't understand that when they do experience something like that, you need to turn your attention to what's around you to figure out what's wrong so you can fix it, or else you're not going to feel better.
Exactly.
And when people,
Exactly.
when people feel like that, I mean, I would go on a limb and say a lot of domestic abuse is probably for that exact reason.
That exact.
Oh yeah,
I would
most
agree with this. I would
abuse
agree.
cases are for that reason.
So if someone watching this is one of those people that is in a relationship and they don't love themselves, or they're not in a relationship and don't love themselves, how would you help them with that?
I would say maybe take a step back from the relationship just so you can take some time on your own to be comfortable with yourself and to truly find yourself and love everything about yourself.
Yeah.
Because once you do that, you can love so much more deeply the
Yeah.
other person.
And
because yourself, you're already content with yourself.
And
that
then
means you
right.
can pour more into
right.
more energy and love into
Yeah.
other relationships.
And when he says take a step back, you don't mean break up with them.
No.
You just mean distance yourself and learn about yourself for a little bit. And if you're with the right person, they won't have a problem with you doing that. They'll be like, oh, I'm all for you growing and expanding your brain.
Yes.
If they're the right person. If they're not the right person, they'll be like, oh, you don't want to talk to me all day? What? Oh, that's toxic.
That's a
Right,
good
right.
sign
That's
of
toxicity.
toxicity.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then if you ever experience any toxicity in your relationship, dude, bro, just
It's not worth it.
it's not worth trying to
why
fight for
are you
it.
still there?
It's not worth trying to fight for it because like 9 times out of 10, it's just gonna always be like that. Like you can't change how someone is,
Mm.
and like
Dude, I see the same thing all throughout high school. People break up, and then 2 months later they're back together, and then they're breaking up, and then they're back together. It's the same cycle, and I have never in my life seen it work out in the end.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Ever.
It doesn't. I can think
I
of
want
one.
someone to prove
I
me
can
wrong.
think of one that is still together right
Alright,
now.
let me hear it.
I can say it on cam.
All right, I got you.
Their brother went.
Hey, it's still not the end of the day for them.
It's still not. It's still not. But
Those people are mentally still in high school.
Mentally,
I
I mean,
think we could safely say that.
safe to say that.
If I
can see
understand
that
the name,
maturity
so-
wise,
Yeah,
maturity
I
wise
could
for
see
sure.
it. I could definitely see that. Wow. Yeah. Once they I feel like people that date from high school to college, I feel like they have to have time to find who they are. You know.
Most definitely.
Mm.
And like, how are we supposed to do that when they're clinging the whole time?
Clinginess can also be a sign of toxicity.
Yeah.
No trust.
I completely agree with everything you guys are saying. I think it's important to work with your partner too, because a lot of times, like, someone will just be having a bad day and they'll kind of just be getting at you, like trying to get under your skin. And it's important, before you kind of let that go and actually step back and remove yourself from that situation, I think it's really important to like work with the person and kind of say, okay, like, let's be adults about this. Like, what is this really about? And if they keep doing that, then maybe you try to have that conversation maybe once or twice more. Then if they're still being stubborn about that, I think that's when it's safe to say that you just need to put some space between you and that person.
Yeah, and with no hard feelings, just like, you can't provide me what I desire in a relationship, and that's, like, I still love you as a person, but this shit just ain't working for me, you know, and then that's not a problem whatsoever.
You gotta look long term in the relationship, because if you're not getting what you need, and at the end of the day, it is about you, because like, why go through life not happy and not content? Like, that is just, life is for you. It was gifted to you.
For you.
So you might as well look for the best outcomes. And if a relationship isn't providing that, then that's just a cue that you should pick up on in order to get out or take a break, find that ease, and figure it out.
Dude, it's so crazy to me how many people don't realize, like, it's their life, you know? Like, why aren't you doing what makes you happy? Like, why are you going to school? Why are you going to school if it pisses you the fuck off and you're stressed the whole time? Like, why are you going to a job you hate going to? Like, why don't you... Some people just never realize that. Like,
some people have no other option, but it also, like, I mean, if you're at a shitty job, but you have to provide for your family, and there's really not a lot of other jobs that you can pick up, like, I mean, that's just a tough situation. You have to stick through it, and you have to find the positives within that situation instead of focusing on the negatives.
Yeah, 100%. I think a problem that a lot of people struggle with, especially when they're younger, is they get so caught up in doing things for other people all the time that they kind of lose their individuality. Like, I think it's, I mean, obviously maintaining social relationships is one of the most important things in life. I mean, humans are incredibly social animals. But at the same time, you have to a certain degree, be able to understand that you're spending your time doing stuff that doesn't satisfy you. And you have to actually, like, I guess, step back from that person and understand that you actually have to do things that you care about. Like, even if it's like something that might not directly like affect another person, like, you've got to, I mean, self-care. Like, you've got to indulge in that.
Self-care.
Not enough people focus on self-care.
What I was kind of implying when I was saying, like, they have a job they don't like, I was thinking, like, a kid in high school who's working at a movie theater when they hate the fucking movie theater. Why don't you just... You can work at pretty much anything you want nowadays. Like, you can make money doing, like, anything. Like, literally anything.
Literally.
Like you can be your own boss.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. You can be your own boss by pretty much... Dude, like water. Like, something as simple as water. You know how much money you think... Like, ice. Like, I was driving today and I saw this ice box is what it's called. It's called the ice box. And it's just this fucking box sitting in a parking lot that sells ice. And I'm just like, dude, how much money you think they make off of ice in a plastic bag?
A lot
of money.
You invest in that.
Just off of ice, bro.
People come get your ice. See, that is a gold mine.
And pretty much everything's monetizable. So if, like, that's where it comes in, where you need to be doing what you love.
100%.
Like,
This honestly reminds me of kind of what we were talking about the other day, is that you know you're in a good place when three things come together. When the thing that you like to do helps other people, and it also sustains you, like, financially.
Yeah.
And when all those three things come together, I mean, you're golden.
That is the
You're
trifecta.
golden.
That is literally the trifecta, dude.
Triple threat.
Triple threat. So, like, let me think. So, for me, for example, like, perfect example, I'd say. You perfect example doing the music shit.
Yeah.
You, nursing. Three perfect examples. We're all
exactly.
You all gotta do what you gotta do, and it makes us all happy.
I mean, it's what you should be pursuing too. It's because what you like to do, like, so your own passions. When you obviously some passions are not good, but we'll leave that to aside for now. But if you have a passion that in pursuing that also helps other people, then you really have no reason to not put yourself entirely into that. Because if it's satisfying you and helping other people, and you can find a way to get money from it, I mean, there's just no reason to
go all in. Go all in.
100%.
Dedicate yourself to that.
Dedicate yourself.
100%.
Steve Jobs, it might have been Steve Jobs, I don't know. He said, if you don't love it, you're not going to be obsessed, and if you're not obsessed, you're not going to make it where you want to be with it.
Could not agree more.
Yeah.
You have to be obsessed. You literally have to plan, and you have to take action, and you have to just train your subconscious to be obsessed with it, so that's all you're thinking about.
Yeah. I mean, anyone that's ever been great at anything was obsessed. Like Kobe,
LeBron.
completely obsessed. I mean,
LeBron.
Jordan in particular. After watching The Last Dance, like, this dude would take everything so personally. Like,
he was fully engulfed mentally and physically into the game of basketball.
Right. That was his heart and soul.
Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, they found what they loved, and they never took a day off.
Yeah. I mean, they even took the risk too. Like Bill Gates, for example. I mean, he was going to a great school, and he decided to drop out and build computers in his garage. Like, no one at that time would have told him that was a good idea. They would have told him. They would have told him, like, look, you probably just don't know what you want. Just finish out school, and then you'll figure it out. But he said, no, I know this is what I want to do. He went out and made it happen for himself.
Faith in himself.
Right, exactly.
That's the most crucial thing, is believing in yourself. Because if you can believe in yourself, you don't need anybody else to.
Yeah.
Like, no one. Like, your parents can be your worst critic sometimes.
Right.
Well,
you can.
Just behind yourself.
Most have true intentions, but
behind yourself. Yeah. Most have true intentions, but some parents, bro, like we're pretty lucky to have the parents we have.
Blessed.
Because some parents are literally just so toxic.
Definitely.
You know, I wouldn't even like know how to sympathize for that, because I've never been in their shoes.
I know. I mean, all you can do is try to put yourself in their perspective by talking to them about it and trying to actually
Get their
think,
perspective.
like mentally think what it would look like from their eyes and the things that they have to go through. To take a step back.
Yeah, I think another good important point is, I've actually had some turmoil in my family before, so I can kind of speak from experience. Is you really just have to focus on the things that you can control. Like, a lot of times, like when you're living with your parents, like going to school still, your parents' relationship is between them two. It's not with you. Obviously that can affect you sometimes negatively, but I think it's really important to focus on the things that you can control.
Yeah.
Because if your parents are like fighting or they're going through something tough, I mean, what can you do about that?
Yeah, I can't do much about that.
Right.
That's their relationship, like, between those two, and you're just kind of a middle ground player. You're just like, hey.
Going off of the control, I would say that really the truly two things that you can control in your life. It's your attitude and your effort.
And your actions.
Could not agree more.
Those are like
could
the
not
two
agree
things,
more.
no matter what everyone, if the world is going against you, like, those are really the two things that you can have full control over. No one can take those away from you.
That's pretty much your actions and your reactions. That's the only thing.
You can interchange the words for other meanings, but when it really boils down, your attitude and your effort.
That's literally it's all you can control, bro.
Right.
Seriously.
In the whole world.
I was actually watching, have you guys ever heard of the show Euphoria? It's on HBO.
Heard about it.
Yeah, so I watched an episode of that recently, and one of the lines that one of the characters said that really resonated with me is, it was a dad who was talking to his son, and he said, look, like, in life, there are gonna be people that beat you down. Like, there are gonna be people that do everything in their power to make sure that you don't get to where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
And he's this is the line that resonates with me the most. He said, what defines you as a man is how much of that you can take without breaking. And your breaking point is what will define you. And he said, the thing that defines the man the most is how you react. And I think I've never heard anything as true as that.
That just gave me the shivers, man.
Damn! Damn!
Wow. Let me sit on that.
Yeah, let me sit on that one. Holy shit. Dude, how many minutes are we at? 25, you guys? That's a good one.
We should
right?
cash.
That's a great
We
one.
should cash
All right.
it.
Well, if you guys
We can
stayed,
keep making more.
yeah, we can just pump them out. If you guys
Yeah.
stayed till the end of that, appreciate it. I hope you learned something valuable and applied it to your life, because I know I did, just in that 25 minutes. So I appreciate the fellas coming on the show. It was great.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And as always, thank you. Peace out.